Hello, Safaraz Ali, Saf, here at Pathway Group offices. I have a gentleman here with me who plays a role on the board serving the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner. He's a non-executive director for Birmingham Solihull Mental Health Trust, as well as a trustee of NACRO, the leading criminal justice charity in England and Wales, as well as many, many others. If this wasn't enough, he's also the former chair of the Lunar Society, Groundwork West Midlands, as well as the vice president of the Asian Chamber of Commerce. He's a graduate from the London School of Economics. He's a mentor at inner city schools for Mosaic Prince of Wales charity, and we're very proud to have him as an ambassador for the Asian Apprenticeship Awards. May I welcome Waheed Saleem. Waheed.
Nice to see you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming to Pathway Group offices. Always good to see you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Waheed, I've just mentioned so many things that you're involved with, so many sort of committees, boards, and so forth. A lot of time that you're giving to the community, a lot of time that you're giving in terms of local events as well as national. Again, obviously, we're very privileged to the fact that you're involved with the Asian Apprenticeship Awards. Tell us why you've got involved.
Well, it's very important to support community organisations and organisations that are promoting apprenticeships and promoting the Asian community as well.
Yes.
And it's very important that to help and support that. So it's a privilege to be able to be an ambassador for the awards and to promote that through my networks as well. Obviously, promoting apprenticeships and young people and companies that are working with young people, it's very important to do that.
Fantastic. Well, Waheed, you've got so many hats on. I mean, I've known you previously in terms of the Chamber, the Lunar Society, then you've got the NACRO aspect of it. They're all sort of varied and different in terms of the commitment, and also in terms of as an organisation. Tell us a little bit about, for the people that don't know much about, say, the Lunar Society, a little bit about what it is, what is it, how you got involved, a little bit about some of the other stuff that you're involved with.
Sure. The Lunar Society is a very historical society. It goes back to the 18th century. So the founding fathers were the people like James Watt, Matthew Boulton, Erasmus Darwin. These were the people who heralded the Industrial Revolution in their time. And today's Lunar Society is very much similar to that in terms of it brings people together from different backgrounds to talk about the big issues and to be a catalyst for debate and challenge. So I became the chair not long ago after being a member for a number of years. And it was a great privilege to be a chair of a very prestigious society. And I put on debates and opened it up so that we had more people come through to debates and to participate in the discussions of the Lunar Society.
I remember, Waheed, that you did something with Jaguar Land Rover in terms of some of the changes that you're doing. So a lot of sort of pushing in terms of the local economy. Again, with your work with the Chamber as well. Again, fighting for a lot of it's about localism now, regional aspect of it. So you're again pushing business owners and businesses as well. Tell us a little bit about again your work with, how you encourage entrepreneurship and some of the stuff that I know you've been doing, but share that with.
Well, I was involved in the Chamber of Commerce. I was the vice president of the Asian Business Chamber of Commerce for a while. So that's one aspect of working with organisations, working with businesses, working with young people to try and encourage them to become entrepreneurs, to go into business, to become public servants of the future. So I've been doing things like mentoring in inner city schools with Mosaic, absolutely. I was instrumental in setting up things like the young leadership programs. The uprising in Birmingham was as a result of me pushing that into the city and getting that in its form. So I've been very instrumental in doing things like that, because I think it's very important that we support young people, we support our economy, we support the region, and we contribute to making it better for everybody.
I mean, I've seen you very actively involved in community stuff. I mean, you're politically involved, you're actively community involved. I mean, you're a big campaigner for the referendum in terms of that. And obviously, we know what the result is. Again, you want to share with us your contribution and what your thoughts are in terms of where we are as a country at the moment?
Well, as a country, obviously, there's Brexit is a particular issue, and that's affecting not just big businesses, but also local people as well. The issue is that we don't know what's going to happen, and it's the uncertainty, it's the unknown, it's the uncertainty that that is a particular issue. Obviously, we've seen the pound going down to its lowest level. We don't know what the government is going to be doing in terms of the negotiations and what our relationship will be with Europe and with the rest of the world as well. So that's going to be a very important aspect in terms of the macroeconomic issues that are going to affect everybody over the next couple of years.
I'm sure it was a shock for yourself, like it was for most people. But as you said, now it's more about that sort of certainty, because that's what business owners are looking for. It's the unknown, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very important that the government starts being clear about what the negotiation position is going to be, and very clear about what they think our relationship with the EU is going to be in the future as well. And I think it's going to be a testing time for the next few years for us to try and mitigate the potential risks around that, and to try and do the best to support businesses, to support inward investment, to try and do things to carry on things as they are. But that's going to be very difficult, but I think it's very important that everybody gets together and continues to do that.
I mean, Waheed, you're from an academic background. You're educated at LSE, obviously one of the top universities in the country, if not the world. Obviously you may not have had direct exposure to apprenticeships. Obviously coming from a British Asian background as well. It's very academic sort of minded. How much were you aware of, say, the apprenticeships in terms of what is it and how is world? Or obviously you've had to do research on it.
I've been so in Warsaw Alliance, for instance, we actually are providers for community education in the health sector. So we're encouraging apprenticeships in the health sector, in GP practices, and looking at other ways of bringing apprenticeships in terms of workforce development in primary care. Encouraging jobs as well. But when I was working in the NHS as well, one of the things I was doing was getting apprenticeships, apprentices into my team, work experience people into my team, and mentoring them and developing them, giving them opportunities as well. I think that was very important to do that. So I do know issues around. I do know about the apprenticeship scheme and what it is, and it's very important and very good that we're celebrating some of that successes here.
I really appreciate your support. In terms of actually from a sort of a local perspective, you've been involved with NACRO, National Charity. You've been involved with now the Police and Crime Commissioners Board. Tell us a little bit about in terms of your involvement with those sort of organisations in terms of payback and community payback and all those sort of.
Well, it's very important. I mean, NACRO is one of the leading criminal justice charities. We do a lot of work in the apprenticeship sector. We do a lot of work in the education and training area, as well as rehabilitation and criminal justice and housing as well. So it's very important that people who have unfortunately have had very tough lives or have gone into the criminal justice system, that they have opportunities as they come out, so they don't reoffend. So the whole emphasis of NACRO is to try and help those vulnerable people, to stop them from going into the criminal justice system. But if they are in the criminal justice system, is to develop a good rehabilitation program for them so that they can get their lives back on track. Because every life is very important, and even if people have made mistakes or have an unfortunate incident in their life, it doesn't mean we should write them off as a society. So I passionately believe in that, and I have committed myself for a very long time in this area. It's a privilege to be with NACRO. I've been there for 8 years now, to support that organisation and direct that organisation as a trustee to supporting those people. And the Police and Crime Commission is very similar. David Jameson and the Chief Constable, which is really good that they are both committed to restorative justice, to prevention, to early intervention, to looking at alternatives to stop people from offending in the first place, and if they are offending, to get them out of the criminal justice system so they can contribute effectively to society. And I think that's a very important part of that whole process of rehabilitation, whole process of reintegration, and it's incumbent on society and individuals like me and you and others to support that as well.
Okay, fantastic. I've known you, as I said, in terms of the chair, Lunar Society, from the chamber aspect of it as well, and then obviously from the social media perspective, I've seen you very engaged with social media. I'm a big fan of social media as well. When I'm doing my research, again, we'll come back to social media to a certain extent, because I know it's a topic we're both fond of, and we both have a passion for. But there were so many boards that you're involved with, groundwork. Again, I came across that, and so many other sort of organisations. You've got a plethora of experience and so forth. How do you sort of divide your time between these projects? And I'm just fascinated to hear.
Well, as I say, there's never enough time to sleep in these things. But I think it's. I've always, from a very young age, I've always been engaged in the communities, always been involved in different aspects and making a positive contribution. To the community, but also to society generally. So I do have a very, very busy life, which is good, because as I say, keeping busy keeps you out of trouble occasionally, but not only occasionally. But so it's about what I try to do is divide my time effectively, manage my time effectively. Time management is very, very important, especially when you're very busy doing a lot of things. And it's also about trying to making sure that I know where I'm going. So being very organised is a very important part of this. I think one of the benefits of having such a portfolio career, as they say, is I can bring good best practice and good experience from different boards, from different perspectives. So when I'm sitting in a police and crime commission and we're discussing restorative justice, or we're discussing issues around vulnerable people, etc., I can bring my experience I've got from NACRO, for instance, to that discussion. I know what NACRO is doing and some of the good work they're doing, so I can bring that to that discussion as well. And same with the Mental Health Trust, and same with pay care as well. So I think it's the fact that I've got that breadth of experience also helps me contribute effectively to the different boards.
At the start, you mentioned about in the Industrial Revolution, the big names out there, Joseph Chamberlains, the Matthew Boltons, and so forth. Birmingham as a city has changed tremendously. Let's not talk about 100 years, even the last 5 years. Obviously, I'm a proud Birmingham. I think you again, like yourself, you do a lot of support in terms of Birmingham. You support the cause of Birmingham as an organizer, as a city. Yeah. Tell us in terms of what's your sort of understanding of where the future is for Birmingham.
The future is very bright for Birmingham. I think the combined authority, the devolution package that's coming for the West Midlands as well. I think that's an important aspect of developing the economy and developing the city. It's very good that we've got a very good base to work on as a city. We have an enormous amount of inward investment into the city centre, and we're continuously having that inward investment.
Proud to get HSBC.
HS2 is coming along. There's a huge amount of investment, Smithfield investment, etc. I think what is also important is that we don't forget that there's a lot of communities around in Birmingham and the wider West Midlands who aren't benefiting from that economic renaissance. And so we have to find ways of engaging them. And I think through apprenticeships, through different forms of training and development, that's the way we can get our young people from the inner city areas who have huge entrenched unemployment issues, huge entrenched deprivation issues, as to get them into being able to prosper and be able to contribute into the economy, but also to benefit from this significant amount of investment that's coming into the city as well. Because if we don't do that, then we will have a significant amount of problems in a two-tier economy and a two-tier society, and we don't want that. We want everybody in this city, everybody in this region to prosper, to benefit, and to get jobs, to contribute positively to society and to the community that they live in as well. And that comes through good education, good training, opportunities of different avenues like apprenticeships, and also ensuring that these big companies that are coming into the city, they are giving opportunities for our young people as well. So we can train our young people, but we also need to get the jobs in so that they can go into those jobs as well once they do their training.
Fantastic. Waheed, obviously, I'm from my background, I'm in the education and training sector. I see a lot of people who are sort of debating in terms of whether it's worth doing a degree, with the whole sort of loan system that's taking place, with also the potential that jobs may not be out there. So a lot of unemployment, particularly with certain communities. Any thoughts in terms of, obviously, a lot of graduates, who become disillusioned in terms of jobs out there. Any sort of advice and
Well, the important part is, as well as doing your degree, you need to get experience. I think that's what employers look for. So everybody, as you said, getting a degree is becoming much more easier, and the number of people getting a degree has significantly increased over the last 10 years. So what you have to do is trying to find something that's going to stand you out of the crowd. So from that, it's about going out, getting a work experience, doing things like voluntary work, doing mentoring, putting something positive back into the community, because that's what will get you in good stead. But also will show an employee you've got initiative, will show an employee that you've got other skills as well. Because a lot of employers, if you talk to them, and I talk to quite a lot of them, they say that the brightest people come through university, but they haven't got a clue on how to work in a team or how to go and sell something.
Skills that we'll talk about.
Absolutely, these life skills are very, very important. And I think, as well as getting a degree, it's about getting that as well, getting those life experience, getting those soft skills, as we say, and being able to then articulate that when you go to an employer and stand out of the crowd. It's very important.
I mean, you volunteer a lot of your time. I was going to suggest, is it worth somebody considering, some of the graduates to sort of volunteer some of their time to maybe some of the charity organisations out there, some of the other organisations out there to get the experience? Because getting the experience may not be that easy in some cases. So again, a lot of voluntary, the big voluntary sector within Birmingham, is that something that you would encourage and
Yes, absolutely. I think it's there's a lot of organisations, a lot of opportunities, and sometimes you have to create your opportunities as well. So what I would encourage people to do is be clear about where they want to go in terms of what jobs they want to be going into, what sector they want to go into, and then being proactive and going out and getting that experience. So even if you're in your first year of university, you have a lot of time as a student as well to do your own study and to do other things. So there's nothing stopping you from sending your CV, talking to people, networking with people to try and get a couple of weeks' work experience here in different companies, so that you are able to do that and be able to provide that. So not just in the voluntary sector, but also in the private sector, in the public sector as well. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of organisations there. It's about people becoming proactive, finding those opportunities and getting themselves getting themselves those experience.
Well, fantastic. Waheed, just on a lighter note, I mentioned social media. You're a fanatic. I'm passionate. We're both passionate about it.
This is the world of the future.
How do you've embraced this? I look at you and look at your Twitter aspect of it, the whole aspect of you. You're there. You've really you've taken to it, and you just tell us how is it where are you with social media?
Social media. Well, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Snapchat. I've just discovered Snapchat as well, which is quite interesting. Yes, indeed. It's a quite nice little app actually. It's good social media communication. But the way social media is a very important part. I use it. It's personal branding. It's about getting out there, but also it's about getting information as well. So I use Twitter as a form of information gathering as well. So I follow the news and follow other people who are contributing or in the field, in my areas. It's a way of opportunity for me to keep in touch, to know what's going on instantaneously. And getting the information.
And you can engage with somebody directly, with Twitter, which sometimes you can't do that with Facebook or with Snapchat. But with Twitter, it's you can go direct to the individual, engage in conversation.
And it's a good way of giving feedback to providers as well. So I constantly tweeting about London Midland. Unfortunately, at the moment, London Midland trains are providing rubbish service.
You keep taking pictures of the the actual the chairs and the.
Yes, indeed. And no one's, I'm still waiting for a good response. I actually happened to bump into one of the directors of London Midlands.
Yeah.
Bizarre story. I was at an event and they were having their senior manager away day, and I did mention this to him on a couple of on quite a. This is the first time I've ever met this chap, and he's the operations director for London Midland. And I said to him, I try and use your trains as much as I can. But I would never use it to London because it's absolutely ridiculous. 2.5 hours, 3 hours to get to London. And secondly, all your trains are rubbish. And he said that they are looking at replacing all their trains and replacing their stock over the next 5 years. So I'm hoping that. I don't think it was my tweets, but I think
it could be
contributed.
the power of social media, isn't it?
Power
At least,
of social
you
media,
get the message. They get the message out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
On a sort of a final note, Waheed, I mean, obviously a lot of parents as well out there. In terms of apprenticeships, I mean, obviously you're an ambassador for Asian Apprenticeship Awards, and we're very privileged and proud to have you there. But in terms of messages to parents and obviously young individuals who may be considering that as a career path, any sort of last thought?
Yes, I think it's very important that people do go through apprenticeships, and the days of what they used to see apprenticeships is only in kind of the manual labour, the blue collar industry is gone. You can have apprenticeships in all sorts of areas. There's different types of apprenticeships, there's different levels of apprenticeships as well. Even people with degrees are now coming out and going into apprenticeships as well, because it gives you a very good experience as well as knowledge base as well. So I would absolutely encourage young people to look at the apprenticeship route as well, to explore that, and if that is the way that there's a good opportunity for them, they should take that opportunity and embrace that, because that is the future actually. And the government is very keen and expanding the apprenticeship programs. There's the apprenticeship levy that's come in as well, so every big employer will have to provide apprenticeships. So there's huge amount of opportunities there. Most of the organisations I'm involved in, we are talking about how many numbers of apprenticeships, how we're going to go into things. From the procurement perspective, but also from as a provider as well.
Social value or value in terms of.
Indeed, and it's a good opportunity for young people to get the experience, to get the knowledge, and also to progress as well in the company as well, because what they're doing is getting that experience where you don't get that when you go and do a degree. You might get the knowledge, but you're not going to get the practical experience. Whereas in apprenticeships, you get both. You get the knowledge and you improve your knowledge, but you also get the practical experience as well, which is very, very important for the future.
Okay. Waheed, thank you very much for your time. It's always good to see you, and thank you for your contribution to the Asian Apprenticeship Awards.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.